Hello, I'm back. So this is just gonna be the same as last time. I'm gonna tell you guys about the books I read this month and give you a description and like my thoughts on them. This will be mostly spoiler free. I will be spoiling one book, but I'll warn you beforehand so you can just skip over it. Um, First, I just want to say this is one of the best reading months I've ever had, if not the best. Like, so many 5 stars, and I found two favorites. The two, which that almost never happens. So it was very good. Anyway, let's just start because intros are so awkward and I don't know what to say. um, oh gosh, why did my screen stop? Okay, so the first book I read was The Hunger Games by Susan Collins. So we started off very strong with a 5 star read, and this was just so awesome. I can definitely see what the hype's about now. Like, if you don't know what this is, which I'm pretty sure most of you do, for those of you who don't, this is a dystopian book about a girl named Katniss who takes her sister's place in this brutal reality TV series known as The Hunger Games. And the games involve, I think, 22 tributes, aged 12 to 18, and they all have to kill each other. The last one standing wins. I love this. I love the survival aspects. I found all that really interesting, like trying to fight these dangerous animals, dealing with the fluctuating temperatures, and of course, like trying to survive the other tributes. Like, there's a lot of near death experiences that kept me engaged in the story. And I loved Katniss. She's so brave and selfless and tough. I think she's a really great heroine. And I really like Peeta too. He's such a sweetheart. And Senna and Rue. They were very lovable, adorable side characters. Also, I just love the plot. I think the idea is really cool and the execution was really good. I liked almost everything about this book, except it felt a little slow after Katniss was all like, I volunteer as tribute. Like, I could have done without all the detailed descriptions of her makeover and the fashiony things. Like, I was so excited for the murdery goodness that I became very bored with all of that stuff. And I just wanted to get to games. But I understand why that was necessary, so I'm not docking it a star or anything because it helped to like understand the world and their values. I will say though that as much as I loved this, I did like Divergent more. I tried not to, but I kept comparing the two because they're both like popular YA dystopian books and they're just associated together a lot, I feel like. And Divergent was just more fun, in my opinion, and I like the romance a lot more. Like, I like Katniss and Peeta as individuals, but I wasn't all that interested in their romance because I just feel like Katniss wasn't that invested in it, and since we were in her head, like, that affected the how I felt about the romance too. But I still really liked this, and I did continue the series. So then the next book I read, I continued right away. I read Catching Fire by Susan Collins, the second book in the Hunger Games. Um, and I feel like this goes without saying, but it takes place after the events of the Hunger Games. We get to know how Katniss is dealing with what she witnessed in the games, and I feel like I can't really say more than that because anything else would just be considered a spoiler. So sorry if that was very brief, but not really. I'm planning on doing a video talking about everything that happened in the Hunger Games, by the way, so I can like spoil things and you can know literally all my thoughts. But we're obviously not doing that here. So, what can I say? Okay, so obviously this was a 5 star read. I actually like this more than the first book. I liked like everything about this. I like Katniss. I like Peeta, Gale, Joanna, Prim, Katniss' mom. Like, I loved the new characters so much. And most of all, I loved Finnick. Like, he's so perfect. He's very attractive and seductive and charming, and I'm just like, I'm in love with him. I'm in love with the fictional man. He brought some much needed humor to the books with his playfulness, which made the books a lot more enjoyable for me because this is a very heavy book, I guess. Like, every time he cried, I wanted to die. Like, I was very attached to his character. I want Happy Finnick all day, every day. And I felt like the romance was significantly better in this book. Like, Katniss seemed a lot more invested in the romance, which is why I didn't like it in the first book. So yeah. And the Hunger Games, like I said earlier, she was I just said that, didn't I? I was about to start talking about how she was indifferent again, as if I didn't just say that. What's wrong with me? And another thing I really liked, like, I feel like Susan Collins did a really good job of portraying the long-lasting effects of trauma with Katniss, Peeta, Annie, and Finnick. And I also really loved the ending. There was so much happening, and there was action and violence and gore and plot twists and mystery and just awesomeness. Like, it was very fast paced and it ends on a cliffhanger, which I love cliffhangers. I know a lot of people don't, but I am a big cliffhanger girly. And the final line was just so good. I was dying to jump into the final. So this is definitely a 5 star read. My only complaint is that Peeta's characterization just isn't very good. Like, I feel like his only personality trait is loving Katniss, and his only goal is to protect Katniss, and his whole life seems to revolve around her as if he didn't live many years without her, you know? So, and oh, at one point we learned that his only nightmares are about losing Katniss, which I just found to be very unbelievable, like, because he witnessed the tributes getting tortured to death and he nearly died himself, but, like, that apparently had no effect on him. All he was worried about was Katniss. Like, he just wasn't his own person, I feel like. I'm trying to think about if I have anything else to say about this. No. Okay. Then I read Winning the Cowboy by Kennedy Fox at the same time. I read this at the same time as reading the first two Hunger Games books. Hunger Games books. Yeah, okay. I just reading this as an ebook. It was pretty short. And I'm gonna be honest, the main reason I didn't read this, like as a physical copy, was because I didn't want anyone to see me with this book in my hand. Just look at it. But I really liked it. It was a 5-star read. Like I said, I started off my month really strong. Like the first 3 reads, all 5 stars. All 5 stars. Amazing. Okay, so this is a contemporary Western romance about a guy named Grayson and a girl named Mackenzie. When Grayson moved into town 5 or 6 years ago, I don't remember, Mackenzie hated him and he has no idea why, but you later find out. It's a small town, enemies to lovers, cowboy romance. There's a lot of like juvenile pranking war, so I feel like if you like mature characters, you probably will hate this. I'm gonna be honest, but I am not the most mature person myself, so I was fine with it. It's very lighthearted and fun, and it's not a book that's meant to be taken too seriously, so it's just light and fluffy, I guess. I had a lot of fun with this. Like, I like the main characters. Mackenzie was very feisty. I hate the word feisty. I don't know why, but I can't think of a better adjective right now, so we'll just leave it at that. And Grayson is like arrogant and flirty and loyal. There's just a lot of fun, snarky banter, which I liked. And there was no third act breakup, which is like a miracle in the romance world. And like they really spent the last few pages like being happy and lovey-dovey, and it was just great because that like almost never happens. Like I was waiting for a third act breakup, and it never happened, and I was just pleasantly surprised. The only thing I didn't like about it was that Grayson used pet names excessively during sex scenes, which is just a pet peeve of mine. It's not a big deal, obviously, so I'm not gonna dog it a star, but it's just not my thing. So yeah, and by the way, this is the 6th book in the Circle B Rand series, but it can be read as a standalone. You don't have to read the other books to understand it. So thought I'd let you know that. Then I listened to We'll Always Have Summer by Jenny Han. I started this series last month, and I didn't really like the first 2 books, so I decided to just listen to the audiobook because I want to actually read it, but I did want to finish it. But this one was so much better than the other 2. Like, I gave it 5 stars. I ate this up. Like, there was so much drama and angst, and I was in love with it. Like, if you don't know what the series is about, it's about a girl named Belly. Well, her name is Isabel, but everyone calls her Belly. Don't ask me why. I think it's stupid too. But anyway, Belly has been going to this beach house with her brother, mom, and mom's best friend. And her mom's best friend's 2 sons. I don't know if that made sense. Anyway, but she's like falling for both of them. So there's love triangle, a brotherly love triangle, so like extra angst. And obviously there's gonna be like tension and drama. So it's gonna be great. I was actually expecting to dislike this book, like I said, because I did not really like the other 2 books, and I heard a lot of booktubers saying it was the worst one, and that the main characters make a bunch of stupid choices. But I mean, they did make stupid choices, but I loved it. Like, really, it was just so fun watching this all go down. Like, the drama was so good, you guys. Like, Belly was fighting with her mom, Jeremiah was fighting with his dad, Jer and Belly had a huge fight around like the 7% mark, I think. Anyway, you'll know when you know. But if you know, you know. That's what I'm gonna say. I can't really say much about the fight without spoiling, but the drama, oh my gosh. And Conrad was like pining after his brother's girl, which obviously caused more drama and tension. Etc. Like, it was just so great, and oh my gosh, I loved Baylor. Is that what they're called? I was trying to say Taylor and Belly. Baylor. Okay, we'll just say Baylor. But I love their friendship in this. In the other books, their friendship was very rocky, but Taylor seemed to have matured a lot during college, and the 2 were actually like supporting each other instead of competing with each other like they were in the other books. So it was just great. Like, I love supportive girly besties. So I was really happy to see that. And Oh, I want everyone to know that if I was Belly, I would choose Jer. Like, even with that. Well, okay, honestly, I would have chosen Cam Cameron because he was the cutest and most precious thing ever, but he wasn't even in this book, so I'm not considering him. I would choose Jer because he's more fun, kind, and easygoing than his brother. Like, I would just enjoy life more as his significant other. Whereas Conrad, he's like very moody and indecisive, and he will play with your feelings, guaranteed. So, yeah. He did have some character development in this book, though. Like, he actually knew what he wanted. And the one thing I do like about him is that he like notices when Belly isn't eating enough and like gently encourages her to eat. I just thought that was cute. But my decision remains the same. Jer over Con. Anyway, remember I said there would be spoilers in the video? Okay, the time is now because I want to talk about the ending. So everyone who doesn't want to get it, just skip to the next book. Like, I think you can, like, if you hold, you guys know how to use YouTube, I think. But you can like hold down on the red thing at the bottom. I don't know what it's called. And just like go to the next book because I do want to talk. Okay, spoiler time in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I did actually like the ending. I know that it may be confusing to some of you because I just said I would choose Jeremiah over Conrad. But here's the thing: it was very obvious to me that Belly would always love Conrad more. It's not even a question; it's a fact. Like, she loved Conrad more. Don't argue with me on this because you won't win. And for the reason I think it would have been wrong for her to end up with Jeremiah. Like, it wouldn't have been fair to him, or yeah, like on her wedding day to cheer, she was trying to memorize the way Conrad's lips felt on her forehead. On her wedding day. Like, if she did go through with the wedding, she would have just pined after Conrad from a distance, and Jeremiah deserves better than someone who isn't all in with him. You know, that's all I have to say. So, moving on to the next book. Then I read Mockingjay by Susan Collins, the last book in the Hunger Games trilogy. This one was definitely my least favorite. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars, but it was my least favorite largely because I predicted what would happen at the end from the very beginning. Like, I made a Goodreads update when I reached page 38. I literally checked about what I thought would happen, and it happened. So I felt super smart, but also kind of disappointed because I like plot twists that shock me. So, yeah, nothing about this book really shocked me, and so that kind of affected like how much I liked it. But oh, and also when my beloved characters died, so I was heartbroken with that. But with that, all that said, like, there was still so much to love about this book, and I love the characters and I love the new friendship. Like, Finnick and Katniss got a lot closer in this, which I like seeing. To be honest, I just love everything Finnick does. Like, oh gosh, coughing fit. Anyway, but yeah, what was I gonna say? Oh, I was talking about friendships. Oh, I was just saying it was cute how Katniss and Finnick, they like looked out for each other and vice versa. And I was gonna say vice versa, but I literally said both their names. What? I'm a mess. I'm so nervous. Can you tell? Anyway, and oh, he also makes her laugh, which is not something she does often. I'm making it sound like I ship them or something. I don't. I just really like their friendship. And I like Candace's friendship with Joanna. They serve slow burn enemies to friends, which is almost as good as enemies to lovers, but not quite. And then, oh, Gail and Peta's friendship. It was unexpected, but weirdly wholesome. Like, because I feel like they understand each other in a way no one else does because they were experiencing the same thing with Katniss. And I just thought it was cute that they were giving each other someone to confide in instead of resenting each other forever. Like, I just thought it was nice. Oh, and I love that Finnick was more developed in as a character in this one. Like, he got a backstory and everything, and I just love him so much. So I was very, very happy about that. My philosophy is the more Finnick, the better. And oh, I like the way Katniss honored the dead at the end. It was a way that ensured that they'd never be forgotten, and I really liked it. I thought it was really sweet, and I like the last line. Like, oh, I have it down somewhere. Oh, okay, here it is. But there are much more worse. I'm so bad. Okay, I'm gonna start over. But there are much worse games to play. Like, I love that line so much because it was the perfect way to end this trilogy because it like acknowledges the games that it took up and oh my gosh, I just need to talk normally. Like, I like it because it acknowledged the games, which took up obviously a huge portion of the trilogy, and it also makes it clear that things have changed for the better, which was good to hear. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say on that. My favorite thing was the new friendships. And then I read The Way I Used to Be by Amber Smith, which at the time that I read this was my favorite book of the year. Like, I loved this so much. It was so good. I gave it 6 stars. I give it infinite stars, but obviously Goodreads doesn't have that feature, so it was only 5 on Goodreads, but it's much more than that in my heart. Okay? I was obsessed with this. I was so invested in the story while I was listening, and when I wasn't, I would replay the most memorable scenes in my head. Like, I don't know. Audiobooks, I usually don't enjoy them as much as I like physical books. Not the case here. I've never been so invested in an audiobook in my life. Like, I love this so much. If you don't know what it's about a girl named Eden who gets raped by her brother's best friend during her freshman year of high school. And the book then explores how the event affects her throughout her freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year. And which I just thought that was really important because it helps people grasp how horrible the act is and how it affects people in the long run. It's not just something that happens and then it's over, you know? So I think the book did a great job of highlighting the long-term effects of rape as well as like the way many assault victims feel and think. And the story just felt so real, which is probably because this is the reality for so many people. And I liked how the author like discredited like common rape myths. That's obviously good. And like, hold on, let me think of an example. Like, okay, some people think that if two people are dating, it's not rape, or that rape usually happens in dark street alleys by creepy strangers, which are both inaccurate ideas. And well, I mean, it can happen like that, but for the most part, they're inaccurate. And the author does discuss things like that here, and there is romance in here, but it's not the main thing at all. It does not overtake the plot. The love interest, his name is Josh. He was the absolute best. He was so caring and sweet and supportive, and I loved him so much. Like, I was thinking about Josh and Eden nonstop while I was at work, and it was high-key becoming a problem for my coworkers because I wasn't working as quickly as I could have been because I was not focused on my tasks. But oh well. On to the next book. This was such a good book. I definitely recommend it if you don't have a rape trigger because obviously that's a big part of this story, and there is like a detailed description of it near the end. Okay, so this one thing started to go downhill. Like, it was all fives up until here, but then I read Dear Heart, I Hate You by Elia Greenwood. Yeah. The 5-star thing couldn't go on forever. You know, I knew it was only a matter of time, and this is the one that ruined it. This is a high school bully romance about two teenagers named Finn and Diamond. Diamond is hired by his father to house sit. Well, more like mansion sit because the dude's loaded, but anyway, she gets hired for the summer, and Finn is supposed to be away to camp or something, but he gets kicked out because he's a bad boy. So now you have two teenagers spending all this alone time together in a big house, no parental supervision whatsoever, but Finn is not happy about this arrangement the way you might expect a teenage boy to be. So he pulls pranks and tries to make her job miserable so that she quits. The beginning seemed very promising. I was enjoying it. I thought it was kind of fun. The reason it's a 3-star is that once they started fooling around or whatever, I'm saying fooling around, not dating, because they refused to put a label on it, even though that's basically what they're doing. But anyway, the relationship became very, very annoying. Like, it was very on and off again, and Finn was all hot and cold, and it was repetitive and annoying. And I didn't like it. Like, I'm not even going to continue on to the next book in the duology because I feel like the on and off thing is just going to continue, and I don't want to deal with it. That's not my thing. And I also didn't really care for any of the characters. Neither of them had me like feeling any type of way. And the third act breakup was so stupid. Like, it's a plot I've seen on Wattpad a bunch of times, and I already know how it's gonna play out. And so yeah, that's just another reason why I'm not gonna bother with book 2. Like, I already know what's gonna happen, I feel like. And another thing that really bothered me is the everything but you thing he says to her. Like, that's the thing. They're like, everything but you. It's supposed to be the romantic thing. Anyway, we find out that he said it to another girl before her. Like, are you kidding me? Like, okay, I feel like he says, like, I hate everything and everyone but you. But then it turns out that he said this to other girls. So the phrase is like meaningless to me, and I literally felt so betrayed. Like, the duology is literally named after that. But he said it to other girls. It's like, what? Like, that was supposed to be their thing. And I actually thought it was cute, and now I don't. My favorite part of this book was the dog, Lexi, and like their individual relationships with her. I thought those were cute. Anyway, moving on. I don't know. I wouldn't recommend this. Okay, now moving on. Then I read The Sword of Summer by Rick Riordan. Is that how you pronounce his last name? I don't know. Anyway, this isn't the type of book that I usually go for because there isn't much romance, but I found it at a garage sale for 50 cents for a hardcover. How could I pass that up? And also, it's my cousin's favorite book, and he doesn't even like reading, but he loved this, so I figured it had to be somewhat good, and it was. I had so much fun with this. I gave it 5 stars. The characters, the plot, the found family theme, the talking sword, the writing, the humor, the mythical creatures. It was all so fun, and I definitely want to continue the series. If you don't know what this book is about, it's about a very, very, very sarcastic teenager named Magnus Chase. Obviously, that's literally on the cover. Who dies, and he gets sent to Valhalla, and he and his friends go on a quest to prevent an evil wolf known as Fenrir, I think was the name, from escaping and starting a war. I learned so much about North, Norse. I must say Norse mythology in this book. I don't think I've ever read about Norse mythology before, so I like jumping into the world and learning about all these gods and goddesses that I didn't have much knowledge on before. And like I did research as I was reading to see like what was accurate and what was just what he made up, like what the author made up, and it like kept pretty true to the myths, which I thought was cool. So all in all, great book. I have no complaints. This was like all I have to say about this really is that it's just fun. It's just very, very fun. Anyway, then I read Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch because it's a summer romance and it's the summer, so I wanted summery books. Unfortunately, I was not a big fan of this. It was just very boring to me. It's about a girl named Lena who travels to Italy for the summer after her mother passed away. Her mother went to Italy when she was young, and something's happened there that she never told Lena about, but she wrote it all down in a journal, which Lena got hold of. And then she's like slowly unraveling all these secrets about by reading the journal, and, like just being in the country. Like it sounds like it would be a good time, you know? No, it was really boring. The mystery was I was just not hooked. Like I was tempted to give it 2 stars, but after doing some reflecting, I realized it's deserved 3, at least 3. You know, like I like the descriptions of the cities and the country. Like I thought the author did a really good job making me feel like I was there and like describing the food and some of the landmarks. So that was fun. That was probably my favorite part of the book. And I loved Howard, who she's living with. He's a sweetheart. Um, okay, my main thing, it was just that it was boring, which I already said, but yeah, I just wasn't interested or engaged. And then Ren is the love interest. He was thought to be in a relationship for the majority of the book, which I don't like that. I don't like the cheating trope at all. And Lena was like being all flirty with him, and I just don't like it. I didn't like it. It goes against my morals. So, like, why did he have to be in a relationship? I would not have minded it if he wasn't. I think I could have found it a lot more cute. But yeah, and oh, I also didn't like how Mimi, who was Ren's girlfriend, was like being vilified for being jealous, as if her boyfriend wasn't ignoring her calls and stuff when he was with Lena. Like, obviously she's gonna be mad, but she was like vilified and like she's jealous and insecure. Like they were saying stuff like that, and like, anyway, like she had plenty of reason to be concerned, but okay. And this book was just giving very much Anna and the French Kiss, which I hate. That was my least favorite book ever, and there were so many similarities between them that it just made me like not like this book as much. And okay, my biggest complaint about this honestly is that the mystery element, which I'm pretty sure the author added to keep us engaged, it did not keep me engaged. Like it just annoyed me because like all the answers were right in front of Lena, and all she had to do was read the journal and talk to Howard, and the answers were right there. Like the mystery was not necessary, so it just kind of bothered me. Like I felt tedious reading it. Like I like when the character has to like act like a detective and actually figure out the mystery on their own. Like when they just have the answers right there and they're choosing not to utilize what they have, like it's just annoying to me. If that makes sense. Okay. Next. Did I say I gave this 3 stars? I think I did. Okay, anyway. Oh. Oh my gosh. What is happening? Okay. Remember how I was saying there's a book I loved more than The Way It Used to Be? I think I said that, right? Maybe not. Anyway, this was my favorite book of the year. I love this even more than The Way It Used to Be. This was so good. Okay, it's Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I loved this so much. I can't even get over how much I loved it. I will never get over Charlie and Nora. Charlie especially. He's like my favorite book boyfriend now. He's just so perfect. And I love his deadpan humor. He's so funny. And their banter was so witty and fun. And oh, okay, so this is about I forgot to summarize it. It's about like a workaholic city girl who's a bit of an ice queen. Her sister wants to go on a vacation to a small town for a month, and so they go. And she finds out that this editor dude who she got off on the wrong foot with years ago lives there, and they wind up having to edit a book together while she's there. And yeah, it was just so good. I annotated like every single page. And I got this from a little free library, which I usually return the books I get from there, but I'm not returning this. Sorry. It would kill me to part with it. Like, I literally annotated, like, every single page, and I want to keep it forever. So I'm keeping it and letting myself be happy. Like, they just, oh my gosh, I love how they understood each other in a way that no one else could. And their first kiss was a rain kiss in a thunderstorm. That's so perfect. And he was just so supporting. And I meant to say supportive and encouraging, and I said supporting. But I guess that works too. Anyway, he was like the man of my dreams. He really was. And I just love him. He was so supportive of her dreams. And I just love it. And he put her happiness above all else. He's like the ideal man. And I could talk about things I love about this book all day long, but that would be probably annoying. Oh, one other thing I wanted to talk about is how the heroine doesn't want kids. Like, I feel like in romance books, especially, like, the heroine also always wants kids, and it's like, it's, you know, it's just a thing. So it was just really refreshing to me that she didn't, and she was more committed to her job than, like, this idea of a perfect family, you know? And another thing, the hero was not taller than her. And I just love that so much. Like, breaking gender stereotypes. We love that. They were, like, the same height. And I just love it. Like, not every guy has to be 6'2", you know? I love that they're, like, secure enough in themselves to not care about silly things like height, you know? And this totally deserved the best romance of 2022 award. Okay. Then I read Princess of Souls by Alexandra Christo, I don't know how to pronounce it, but she's the person who wrote To Kill a Kingdom, which I love that book. So I decided to read this. It's the second book. It's set in the same world, but the characters don't intermingle or anything, so you don't have to read the first one to understand. Like, it's very easy to understand, I think. Honestly, I don't know how to describe this book, like, because I feel like some of the things, because I don't know what would be considered a spoiler or not. So if you're interested by the cover and you like fantasy, enemies to lovers, romance, just read the blurb, honestly, because I feel like I'm not going to do a good job of describing it. So yeah, this is a Rapunzel retelling. I'll just say that, I guess. What else can I say? Really nothing. Like, just read the book, honestly, or read the blurb. So what did I like about this? I did really like this. I gave it 5 stars, but I'm struggling with what to say. Okay, I didn't like it as much as To Kill a Kingdom, if I'm going to be honest, but it was still really good. The plot was very fun. I liked the characters. The banter was good. There was found family, which is always a plus, and they were like taking turns saving each other's lives, and it was just very cute. Like, I like that Celestra, who's the main girly character, she could like hold her own in a fight, and she like played the role of the knight in shining armor sometimes, which I just love. I love strong, powerful women. And yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. I don't know why I'm struggling to remember, because I really did like this book and I love the cover. Anyway, let's move on, I guess. Then I read November 9th by Colleen Hoover, which is about, it is, I'm in the middle of something. Sorry, I got interrupted, but this is about Ben and Fallon, who meet on November 9th every year, but they don't have contact with each other like on any of the other days in the year. They've agreed to that, which is just such a cool premise. Like, I've never read anything like that before. I thought it was very unique and creative, and yeah, I really like this. There were some things that were a little unsettling, but I won't even get into it because they were just very little things, I guess. And this is insta love, which I know turns people off. It turns me off too, but something about this book made it work. Like, even though they were falling in love with each other after knowing each other for days, like, I just felt their connection, and I liked it. So I don't know. I really like this, and the writing is just really easy to digest. So I liked it. 5 stars. Then I read Wrecked by Lauren Asher. This was a 4-star, and you don't have to. I didn't read the other books in the series. You don't have to either. But after reading this, I will, because I did like this book. So it's about an F1 driver who has like ruined his reputation by binge drinking and partying. So Miss Elena gets hired to fix his image and basically babysit him. I really like this one. The only reason it's not a 5 stars is because I hate the "I'm not good enough for you" trope, which is a big thing here. And like, we all know how it's gonna play out. We've seen it done 1,000 times, so it's just kind of annoying. Like, we know by the end he's gonna become good enough for her, and they're gonna get together. So it was just kind of annoying. I don't know. I just don't like that trope. That's the only reason it's not a 5 star. But I did really like it. Like, the things they did for each other were so cute. Like, so thoughtful and sweet. Like, her notes in his pill bottle and him doing the nightlight thing. Like, it was just so cute. Okay, I'm trying to rush because I'm running out of time. The last thing, I did like a top 5. My favorite was Book Lovers, then The Ways to Be, then November, then Catching Fire, then Sword of Summer. Okay, bye. That's all.